This recording contains some directions and further information about the essay assignment and the upcoming writing workshop. So to prepare for the essay workshop, you're going to create a very good copy of your essay, something that is good enough to submit to. If you weren't doing a writing workshop, you would be submitting this copy for grading. So you're going to write your very good copy of your essay to bring to class. You're going to bring a printed copy to class, and like I said, it's a good copy of your essay, not a rough draft. The reason for this is so that you can get better feedback on your essay. If your essay is something that is really rough and just point forms, you're not really going to get any feedback on how well written your essay is. So you want to bring something that's really good to class. You're also going to upload your good copy to the assignment Dropbox in Blackboard. This is set up so that you can submit as many times as you want until the due date. It uses Turnitin to create a report that allows you to see whether you have accidentally plagiarized, and you can use this report as part of your revision process. So we'll talk more about Turnitin in a few minutes. Your essay should take into consideration any feedback that was provided on your proposal and annotated bibliography. And this is important because I want you to make sure that you're learning from the feedback that's been provided. You can also review the videos that have been posted in the resources folder. There's the assignment notes video, which was about I posted it after marking the proposal and annotated bibliography. That one is a link to a YouTube video because it was too big to put into Blackboard. There's also a video on tech tips, and there's a video on the assignment directions that we started with at the beginning of term. It's good to review these things to make sure you're doing things exactly the way that it's being expected and how we're going to be grading it. So when you are revising your essay, you always are going to double check your sources. Are they peer reviewed? Are they scholarly sources? Are they cited in the essay? Are your sources cited in the essay using APA? Remember, your citations, your in-text citations, and your references in the reference list must match. So anything you cite in your essay must be included in the reference list, and anything in the reference list has to be used in your essay and cited in your essay. So make sure that you double check that. Remember that revision means tearing your draft apart, not just tweaking things, not just proofreading. It's really taking a very critical look at what you've written and asking yourself, does it make sense? Is there a way I can make this better? If your essay is getting long or you've gone beyond the word count, go back and look for ways to say things more succinctly. Rather than cutting out important information, you want to make sure that you have nothing in there that really just says nothing. So sometimes those are those sentences and phrases that you think are introductory or transitional. Usually there is a more concise way to say what you need to say. So look really critically at getting rid of some of those unnecessary words. You can use the writing style checklist to look for some of the clues for that sort of thing. That's posted in the resources folder in Blackboard. And there's some other tip sheets in there as well. You should also compare your essay with the rubric that we're going to be using to grade your essay and make sure that you've included everything there. What are we looking for? We're looking for clarity. Is the paper written in a clear, easy to understand style? This includes correct grammar, proper APA formatting, clarity of thought, all of those things. Coherence. So we're asking that question of, does the paper develop logically? Does it hold together in a coherent manner? Is there a plan here? Does it make sense? We're also looking for comprehension. Does the student show that you understand the topic? So you want to demonstrate that you understand what you're talking about. It's always surprising when somebody comes to see me after getting their essay back, and I'll say, something about how well did you understand what you're talking about? And usually, if they don't understand it in their head, then it is confusing in the essay. So you have to be clear in your own mind what it is you're trying to talk about. And then we look at completeness. Have you included everything required to address the topic? Again, this is somewhere where we look at if your essay is too short, we look at, is there something missing here? If it's too long, is it rambly? So we're looking to see, have you included everything that you need to say about the topic, and have you done so in a succinct and clear manner? Now, your essay is going to be between 2,000 and 2,500 words. You're going to look at the rubric to make sure that you've included everything that we're looking for. On the rubric, it refers to something called context. Context is going to include things such as historical information, regional analysis, theoretical analysis, time period, and so on. This doesn't mean you have to include all of those things, but what you do need to be doing is making sure that it's clear what you're talking about. Do you have a specific time period you're talking about? Give some exact dates when you're referring to events. What theoretical analysis are you using? Use the exact terms. Use the name of the philosopher that came up with the ideas. Are you focusing on a particular region or a country? Be very precise and specific. In addition, your essay is going to have a descriptive title that's going to be located on a title page using APA formatting. A descriptive title is something that tells the reader what to expect in your essay. If you just call it Republicanism essay, then that doesn't really tell us much. We want to know, what is your main argument? So it's not a sentence, it's a title, but it's a title that gives a sense to the reader what to expect in the essay. You're going to be writing in a narrative style, so you want to have some coherence, you want to have some flow in there. You don't try to be too fancy. I want clarity over fancy words. But so you want to write in a story that is easy and engaging to read. You're going to include an introduction. Your introduction is going to outline your argument. It's going to mention what theoretical framework you're going to be using, what philosopher is connected to that framework, and then what policy or current issue you're focusing on. Now, depending on the topic, some topics fit well by looking at a particular policy document, but others are more about a current issue. And so there is a bit of blurriness between those two. So just be clear what you're talking about and be specific in your introduction. If it's a current issue that doesn't have a particular policy document, but is really relevant to what's going on today, especially regarding democracy, then you can say that that's what you're doing. But be very specific and clear about why. You're going to include an analysis of specific and concrete evidence to support your argument. Again, this might help in terms of when you're thinking about context. So if you're providing a specific example, you want to say what time period it happened in and what country it happened in and so on. You're going to include in-text citations and a reference list in APA format, and those two things have to match. And you're going to include really no direct quotations or a minimum of direct quotations. So the majority of your essay should be in your own words. Even when they're in your own words, of course, you do need citations. Those are called indirect quotations, right? So the things that you paraphrase from other sources also need to have a citation. One of the reasons for having no direct quotations is I want you to demonstrate that you understand the topic. So if you have an essay that's full of quotations that could easily be put in your own words, then it suggests to me that you don't really understand what you're talking about. The reason for using direct quotations is when you cannot put something into your own words without losing its meaning, or if you need to analyze the exact words that somebody wrote or said. And that's where, if you're focusing on a theory, you might need to include some of the direct words to make your analysis, but you want to have a minimum of them. Most of your essay should be in your own words, and it shouldn't be. You should be using direct quotations just because you're tired and you can't think of a different way to say it. And finally, you're going to have a conclusion that wraps everything all up, that ties it all together, and demonstrates again that you know what you're talking about, and that you understand the relevance of your topic and why it's important. Always in your essay, you want to answer the questions of so what and who cares. Why does your topic matter? Who should care about it? Who is impacted by these issues, and so on. In terms of preparing your final copy, you're going to save your essay with a clear file name. So it's going to be, I want you to use this format: last name underscore, first name underscore, and then a short version of your title. So an example might be King underscore Allison underscore Republicanism. You are going to save your files as docx files. Okay. You're going to, before you submit it, the last thing you do is you proofread one more time. Yeah, make sure you've got your grammar, your spelling, your title page, your title, your APA formatting, and so on. One last proofread. You can use that writing style checklist again. And then, as I said, you're going to save your essay as a docx file. PDF is acceptable if it's absolutely necessary, but please do not use pages files or any other kinds of document files, because sometimes we can't open it. So docx file with a clear file name that includes your last name, your first name, and a short version of your title. If everybody named their essay POSC 1200 essay, then it's really hard for us to figure out whose essays belong to who. Okay, so just to make things easy, use that format. Then you're going to submit your essay on Blackboard. Blackboard uses turnitin.com, which means that it's checking for matches to what's out there, making sure that your essay has a minimum match rate. So you may submit your essay. It's set up so that you can submit your essay as many times as you like until the due date. And this is allowing you to do revisions, submit it again, find out whether you managed to fix all the matches, put it all really into your own words. So it's allowing you to correct any accidental plagiarism. You need to learn how to read a Turnitin report. There's a link here that will allow you to go to an example of how to read a Turnitin report. What you're looking for, what you're aiming for, is a similarity score or a match rate of 10% or less. A high match rate does not necessarily mean that you have committed plagiarism, because direct quotes, even if they're in quotation marks with a citation, will show up as a match. But it's not plagiarism because it's cited correctly. Similarly, if your references in your reference list match, then it's probably not plagiarism, unless, of course, you've copied somebody else's reference list and just plopped it in. If you do have a high similarity score, you have the opportunity to revise your essay. Remember, you do have to do more than just change a few words here and there. You need to revise it into your own words. But you also have to use good judgment. If the matches are in your reference list, or if your matches are direct quotations and the direct quotations are necessary, then you may have a slightly higher match rate. But you really shouldn't have very high. You could, in fact, have a match rate of 0%. That's hard to do, but it is possible, especially if you submit your essay early. And so what the report is doing is highlighting text text from your essay that matches other documents in their database or online and on the internet. So the essay workshop. We're going to start with a presentation from the Writing Center. Then you're going to work in pairs or small groups to peer review each other's essays. And then while you're doing that, myself, the instructor, the TA, and the writing advisor will be circulating to help answer questions and so on. So just put up your hand if there's something that you're not sure about or you're unclear about, and we'll come and give you a hand. At the end of the class, on Blackboard, you're going to complete the peer assessment of the rough draft. It's like a little mini assignment. This can be done as quick notes because I want you to give more personal explanations when you're discussing with your partner. So you should be in the over the time period of the class, we should have a couple hours anyway to just spend time working on that essay. The idea is that by the end of class, you should be able to go home and just do some pretty quick corrections to make your essay better. The goal of this is for you all to have improved essays. Okay, so I think that's it. If you have any questions, please do come to see me or email me, but don't leave it to the last minute, please. Happy writing.